Technology has started to take off with its inventions, don't you think?
Certainly. But did you know that 80% of the technology we'll be using in 2030 hasn't been invented yet? Which means that the future is literally a work in progress.
Wow, that's some news to me.
Yes. And so to talk about that world of technology, we have a technology leader amongst us. So please put your hands together for Mr. Rohit Purohit.
Rohit Purohit is a technology leader and an entrepreneur who believes life is more about than just success. It's about balance. His work is guided by Purushartha, 4 goals of life: doing what's right, Dharma; building a good life, Artha; enjoying what you love, Kama; and growing as a person, Moksha.
He creates technology that helps people and the planet, reminding us that we're here not just to take, but to contribute. No matter your age, you can live with purpose, make smart choices, enjoy the journey, and make a difference. So we welcome you, sir.
Thank you. It was too much to listen about me. I thought, sending a draft would have been just for the website. But pretty excited to be here. Good morning, everybody. Hello. Good morning. I'm going to talk roughly about 10 minutes. It's an interesting perspective, right? Interesting in the sense that we all know what AI is and what AI is not. But just try to put a little different dimension, right? That would maybe, help us a little bit more to understand how best to use AI. So my quick introduction, my name is Rohit Purohit. I run technology companies. Recently, I started a company called simplertoday.ai that helps Indian citizens to draft a police complaint within just 10 minutes that is acceptable to various police stations according to different laws. What we realize that 90% of the cases in India, people are not going towards a police station and filing a police complaint because of the tedious process and they don't know what to write and what not. So we came up with that idea, and now we have been already actively serving 3 million people in one of the districts in India. And apart from that, I do a lot of work around various startup ecosystem. When I got to know about the future frontiers, right, I was very excited. And Jeet Mani told me that there's a student between 8 and 12. That added a little bit more excitement. And so I thought, why not to bring a different perspective? So I want to talk about an incident that stayed with me. 30 years back, I was in Standard 8. It was a very cozy afternoon in the summer, late summer. My Sanskrit teacher was teaching, and he mentioned a slok. He cited a sloka, and that, sorry, I think there's some issues with this. Yeah, okay. That simply says, Udyame nahi siddhanti karyani na manorathe, nahi suptasya sinhasya praveshanti mukhe mrugaha. That simply means, by talking or by thinking, you cannot achieve anything. You just have to work for it. Even if the mighty lion is a king of the jungle, the food doesn't come to him automatically. He has to hunt. If he doesn't hunt, he dies. Now that stuck with me. And it was not just me, but this was a moment for many of my friends also in the class. You know, some moment stays with you, and there are different reasons. At times you can't comprehend that, right? It's more emotional, but as you grow, you start comprehending that. So in this case, what we realize, with some of my friends, of course, that Sanskrit was newly introduced subject in Standard 8. Of course, I was not a scholar, that's why, we thought that it's a new subject. But a lot of us got the new opportunity to start together with the other students. Of course, the way it was cited was also music to our ears, but apart from that, we got one thing common among all of us. That was an equal start, the entire class. Equal start of learning a new subject where everybody is starting from the same point. It's an opportunity. I had goosebumps. I did well in that subject, so is some of my other friends. And fast forward 30 years today, I have the same goosebumps. Why? Because I've got new subject, and I still feel like student. The new subject is nothing but AI. Now, AI, everybody is talking. Politicians are talking, businessmen are talking, students are talking, startups are talking. Who is not talking AI? Of course, nobody. Nobody is not talking about AI. Now, there are different ways to define that. That means there are a lot of myths, a lot of misconceptions about AI. Let's simplify that. So, if you have to, extreme level simplification, do a simplification of an AI. So, think of an AI as a technology. Technology, that means starting from your calculator to the smartphone, to the devices, those are used to, do a rocket launcher, mass productions and all what sort of a thing. Technology that acts smart, like humans. And they learn from the data that we provide as a human. Data in the form of the books, those have been written, stories have been told, music that has been composed, movies has been built, everything that is captured, right? And the way we teach them to act and react. A lot of cars, now self-driving cars, right, if there is an obstacle, they will stop automatically. If we are, as a human, if we were to do it, we would do the same thing. So we have taught the technology to mimic the way we want them to act. And that's how the AI has been there in our life. The YouTube video that you see, automatically you see the next recommendation video, right? What is it? It's an AI. 99% chances you're going to click that. Why do you spend 2 hours constantly on the reels or whatever the content that you are consuming? It knows, right? There are a lot of predictive algorithms and all that is embedded into it. But we're not going to talk about the algorithm, right? But I have a very different perspective today. And that perspective is that AI is powerful, yes. AI has all the answers because whatever you ask today to AI, let's talk about ChatGPT and these kind of tools. Right? Even on the google.com now it's an AI-powered responses. It will always have an answer, right? But that does not make it powerful. What makes powerful AI is the human, the question that we ask. In the schools, we are always pushed towards finding the right answer to the question those have been asked, right? And based on that, we are rewarded with the good marks. Viva, question is asked, go back, think about what you know and respond, right? In the books, exams and all, not about the schools, but also in the higher level academics, PhD, right, peer reviews, they are always looking at it, that how the answers have been found. But AI, flip the side. AI has all the answers. Whatever question you have, AI has the answer. How do you get the right answer is the question. And that's where the power lies in. What question do you ask? Right? It's all about that, nothing else. We're going to look at it. But before that, I really want to touch on 2 points. That there are a lot of AI myths that come across. AI myths, that means a lot of misconceptions. But out of which, the top 2 that I have identified that I want to talk about today. The first one, AI always gives the right answer, right? We always say that AI always gives the right answer. Let's try this. And I've just asked, there is a question, and these questions have been asked in 2 different ways. And look at the difference between 2 answers. Let's say somebody is asking, tell me about the Indian monsoon. It's going to simply say that this is the season, what happens in which months and all sort of a thing. Very simple, clear. But if you ask, explain the Indian monsoon from the perspective of farmer, right? So for a farmer, it's a life. If the monsoon is not there, right, it's a lot of problem for them, right? It impacts their income and lot and whatnot. And not only that, it will also try to bring in the latest perspective. It can also tell you that last 3 years there has been a good or a bad monsoon. Imagine the availability of a knowledge that is there for you based on the question that you ask. There is another myth, which is pretty close to it. People say, I will think for us, right? If I ask a simple question, it will automatically give me a counter questions and, make me think and doing a little bit more. But that's also not there. Let's say that everybody knows cricket, right? And I think many of us have already played a gully cricket. Imagine a guy comes in and say that, tell me more about a cricket, right? So you have to respond to it. How would you do that? So let's say you ask ChatGPT saying that, okay, tell me about a cricket that I can share. So it will simply say it's a popular sports, England, South Africa, Australia, India, they are the top countries and whatnot, 11 players, blah, blah, blah. But if you simply say that, explain a cricket to a guy, right, or a kid, 10-year-old, then the responses will change. What is the difference? It will try and think how a 10-year-old would perceive the information. It will say that, imagine you are the same team into a big playground. Positioning of every player matters, not just the sixes. Every ball matters. That's a difference. That is the power that resides in our hand, not in the AI. That's what AI is all about. So in this case, the real frontier is you and your question. We have been asking questions every day. But are these right questions which are opening doors for us? Maybe we don't know, or maybe we know. Maybe we are not perfect, maybe we become perfect as we move along. But just imagine the probability. Let's talk about a little bit more academics, physics. Asking a definition of a gravity versus asking a question about a gravity, tagging an additional information saying that why the mango falls in my farm, right? There is a difference, correct? In a biology, let's think about what is the DNA. Imagine the question is asked, what is DNA? Explain, as if it were a recipe book for making each person unique. Those little differences in asking a question to AI would lead you to a different doors. Talk about history, right? But everybody knows. But just imagine with that invention, years and years back, what is the impact of that invention in today's space science, right? What will happen here? What actually comes out is the person who is receiving the information based on the right question has an ability to connect, is relevantly looking at that information. That is not there in a typical way of doing a Q&A today. That's the difference. Why it is happening? Because you are forcing with your question AI to think a little harder. Imagine, you see the pattern here? Vague questions, shallow answers. Sharp questions, open doors. What kind of a doors? Let's imagine. What if you ask, how can I reduce traffic in Indian cities? You can ask anybody. Standard 876, doesn't matter. Say that, how can I reduce traffic in Indian cities as 10 years old killed or 15 years old killed. Anything is possible. Imagine. You can ask how can a teenager in India can design a low-cost water purifier that can impact millions of families in India who is facing water issue because of the water contaminations and whatnot. Imagine. You ask a question about the universe we don't know yet to know about, how to ask. There are some patterns we see, the kids, let's say my daughter out of a blue asked me, various shapes to draw. Today she just asked me that, draw me a tiger. I don't know where she got the idea of a tiger sitting here, right? So even to get into details around it, you can still ask the question because AI has all the knowledge by a lot of scientists that they put together, and it has an ability to contextualize that, to think about it, to rationalize that. That also means in the world of AI today, which is more important, that the future isn't going to be built by answers. The future is going to be built by the courage, the criticality of the question that you put across. Based on the question that you ask today in the society, the answers are going to be there. Like she was mentioning, by 2030, 60-80% of the technologies have not been invented. What does it mean? That means there are millions of new questions to be asked. Doesn't matter if you are a student, working professional, you are supporting the family, you are in NGO, you are a teacher, doesn't matter. With that, I would like to say that the future truly belongs to those who ask the right question. With that, I would like to leave you with one question. What do you care enough to ask today to AI, through AI, for making a world better tomorrow? Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir, for your impactful ideas. We will surely carry them with us forever. I would now like to call Jeetmani Agrawal from our core team to present you with the gift.